Pika kõnet ei tohi pidada, seepärast vorstid kõrbevad ära, igla hoolega ma näen, mõned on tules juba. This is the celebration of the St. John's Day, and all these people are Estonians gathering here to celebrate that day.
This is a little river going through the small Swiss town of Chor.
Standing right in your way.
Now we're traveling towards St. Moritz through the Julian Pass. We make a stop here where we see this fantastic sight of the snow-covered mountains through Julian Pass. And here we are at the town of St. Moritz. And we see some of our views of the buildings in St. Moritz. Now we're looking down at St. Moritz Lake and part of St. Moritz. And now we're right alongside the lake in St. Moritz. Now looking back up towards St. Moritz from the lakeside. This is looking across the lake towards the other side. We can see the Alps in the background. Now looking back towards the part of the city that is where our hotel is, it's called the over part. The other is called the under part of St. Moritz. You just saw some of the children from the school at St. Moritz running around the lake for their PE period. How would you like to make this trip every day around the lake for your track and field day? This is water rushing down from the Alps to fill beautiful lake at St. Moritz. Here we see it emptying into the lake. Now that looks like a good idea for a long walk around the lake. And here is where water flows out of the lake at St. Moritz to flow on somewhere out. And now, after leaving St. Moritz, we are traveling farther through the Alps. And we come across this waterfalls on the way. Okay, we're now in Italy at Lake Como. And you can see some of the Alps in the background and Lake Como. These are sidewalk shops in Italy. We're now on the ferry crossing the lake at Laveno in Italy. And this is the pilot of the boat crossing the ferry crossing the lake. And here is the man punching the tickets on the boat. We're now on the ferry, and you can see Entra ahead of us that we're heading for on the ferry. This is Simplon Pass, a passageway from Italy to Switzerland through the Alps. This eagle was erected to symbolize the strength of the Swiss people and also to honor the garrison that held this pass during World War II. And now we have arrived at Zermatt. Here you can see the peak of the Matterhorn,
Right.
poking through the clouds as they move.
I want to see the stores.
This is a scene of downtown Zermatt. Here we see some children bringing the goats from the fields back to their stalls for the night. Now we're on the train heading for Gornergrat. We're going to go through this tunnel that protects them from the snow. Now we're at the top of Gornergrat, and I'm looking down over the mountains. The Matterhorn's over here. When the clouds will clear, we'll be able to see the Matterhorn.
Hey, Bert!
Here we see a little snowball fight.
Yeah.
Some more views of Guanagrot. We are at about 10,000 feet up here. This is John, our guide. He promised us that we would see the Matterhorn. How much of it do we see here?
Well, now you see the half of it.
We see half of the Matterhorn,
Yeah,
but we
1
can't.
minute ago you saw 3/4 of it.
3/4,
Yeah.
but we can't see the
I
peak.
believe you see the whole mountain.
After we leave.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
A little farther, John.
Now we're in the train coming down from Guanagrot back to Zermatt. Swiss children singing on the train. And now we're getting a little bit better view of Zermatt.
More of a view of what it looks like.
Of the Matterhorn. We're still coming down on the cogwheel train. Looking at Zermatt from the train and now up towards Matterhorn. These are the horse-drawn carriages in Zermatt. Now we're looking at the Matterhorn Mountain just before we leave Zermatt. And we are extremely fortunate because it's very seldom that you get this good a view of Zermatt, of the Matterhorn, with the clouds clearing. And now we must leave Zermatt. And now we're in the French part of Switzerland and passing Lake Geneva. And here we see a street scene in Montreux. Lake Geneva by night. And now you will hear a concert by the Montreux City Band. Now, unfortunately, we must leave the concert.
The Munster. M-U-N-S-T-E-R. Well, you can see the windows, the open windows. They're all very small and they're coming up in a point. And the point is pointing up to heaven. Kind of window. Coming out some figures, and it's really nice to hear the bells and to see the little figures coming out of the wall. Yeah. So
here is the clock tower in Bern. It's the guy I was talking about a minute ago. And now we have a view of a fountain in Bern and the clock tower in the background. This is another view of the clock tower from the other side of the clock. Okay, we are at Interlaken, and you can see in the background over there the Jungfrau, the famous mountain that you can see from Interlaken. This is the Hotel Balances in Lucerne where we stayed, and it's on the official monument list, which means they cannot change the outside of it. And this is one of the fountain squares in Lucerne. This is the Chapel Bridge and the water tower in Lucerne, built in 1333. This is a view taken from the Chapel Bridge and water tower. And this is another view of the Chapel Bridge, taken from the large bridge in Lucerne. Another one of the many beautiful fountains in Lucerne. And this is a view taken from the fountain back towards the lake and another part of Lucerne. This is the Lion Monument in Lucerne. It's carved out of the natural rock, and it's to commemorate the Swiss guards who defended the Tuileries. It was carved in 1821.
Century, because well, you see on some of the paintings here you see here 1742. Well, these paintings are the history of Lucerne and the history of Switzerland. Most of them are the history of Lucerne.
Along the lake in Lucerne, along the river here, you find the fruit, vegetable, and flower stands open on Saturday mornings. And of course, as always, you see the sidewalk cafes. Here we're looking at the old mill bridge in Lucerne. Looking down the street, you can see the flags representing the different counties, divisions in Switzerland. Now we're looking down from the cable cars. We're heading up Mount Rigi. At the top of Mount Rigi, you just saw one of the fire brigades go by, and we can see the cattle grazing. You can hear their bells. No, these men in uniforms are not the Nazis regrouping again. This is the volunteer fire department. The volunteer fire department meets twice a year up here to practice. They're from the village. This train just came up with a wedding party. Here we see some of the clouds moving in on Mount Rigi. While we're on Mount Rigi, I caught these shots of some little kittens playing in a garden up here. Another view at the top of Mount Rigi. We descended Mount Rigi on this steam-powered locomotive down a cogwheel railway. And we're coming to one of the little train stations on the way down from Mount Rigi. These are some sheep alongside the railroad track. Looking down from the train, we head down to the lake from Rigi. The engine's going to connect to another car to take it back up the cogwheel railway. Now on the boat crossing the lake back towards Lucerne. We're looking over the steamer here as we're heading back across the lake towards Lucerne. It's beginning to rain again on the lake. It rains every day at about 4 o'clock. Here you see Lucerne and you can hear it raining. It's been raining all day today and Sunday. Here is a view of the mill bridge in Lucerne. Now we're closer and you can hear the water just rushing underneath the bridge. In the mill bridge are these unusual paintings. It's another view of the paintings that are in the mill bridge. The paintings that are in both the chapel bridge pictured here and also in the mill bridge depict the history of Lucerne, and the paintings in the mill bridge depict the bad times of Lucerne. In Liechtenstein, we see the castle of Liechtenstein. Here we're looking down the street of the little town of Vaduz, Liechtenstein. Another view of Liechtenstein. Boarding the bus to leave Liechtenstein.
Well, you have a marvelous sight when we're on this curve over there. You see the green and the snow. It's like a plum pudding or a tort, or how do you call it? Kuchen, do they call it in Germany? Well, it's like an apple pie. You put some sugar on it or some sour cream, and then you have the same scenery as you see over here. The green grass and the white snow, the fresh snow.
Here we see another view in Austria at our rest stop.
Of the famous house with the golden roof. Well, golden, it's not real golden. There is some gold, but well, now I have to look up the exact amount. It consists of 3,450 copper plates, which have a very...
Now we're looking down one of the streets in the old part of Innsbruck.
above the highest window. And then you see
Another part of Innsbruck. Again, we're looking down in the old part of the city at Innsbruck. Once again, we see the famous golden roof. We're now looking at a fountain in Innsbruck, right outside the old part of the city. This is in the park in Innsbruck. And this is one of the many outdoor chess games that you will see being played in the parks throughout Europe. And look at this beautiful arrangement in the garden in the park. And now we're going to join a Tyrolean folklore night in Innsbruck. And so we must leave our enjoyable evening of Tyrolean entertainment. Here we have some views of the Brenner Pass. Here we're walking up the trail so we can see the Euro Bridge. Here is the Euro Bridge at crossing the Brenner Pass.
Very good.
We are now in the small city of Villach in Italy, just across the Austrian border. And here we're looking down one of the streets at the old city gate and tower. Here we get a chance to see an Austrian child in lederhosen. Looking at some views from northern Italy and Cortina. Here you can see some water being brought down from the mountains and irrigation for this area. Here in Cortina we're seeing a small colt. This is in Cortina, Italy. This is in the town of Villach, which is in southeastern Austria. And this is another view of Villach. This man has caught a small fish fishing along the bank here. The sun is beginning to set in Villach. Now we're in the city of Klagenfurt in Austria, and this is in the city square. This is their symbol, the dragon. This is the city of Pach on the way to Graz, and then we're going to Vienna. This is a view of the Schönbrunn Gardens taken from the window in the Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. These are the front gates of the Schönbrunn Palace. And this is a front view of the Schönbrunn Palace. And here we are going to board the boat, the steamer that will go down the Danube River. This is on the steamer heading down the Danube River. Now we're still on the boat going down the Danube. This is looking up the Danube as we're traveling up the Danube River. This is a scene taken from the steamer. This is a castle we're seeing from the ship going down the Danube. This is the Danube River flowing through Salzburg, Austria. This is the picture of the Holy Trinity Church in Salzburg, Austria, by night. This is the Hohensalzburg Fortress by night. This is the BMW building in Munich, Germany. They're having a parade of antique cars to publicize the BMW company. This is a view of the Olympic Tower from the Olympics that were held in Munich in 1972.
The roof construction, it's very expensive and also very special.
Weird.
This is
to right hand side,
football stadium
we have the
at the Olympics.
pool, the swimming pool, and
This is looking down the pedestrian shopping mall in Munich. This is the Baden Sea, which is on the border of Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. We're on the shores of Lake Zurich, watching one of the ducks on the lake. This is Zurich in the about noon. Here we see a steamer coming into the dock. Across the bridge now back towards Zurich from the lake. We're on the shores of Lake Zurich. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Nice clear day. It's warm. And the dock in Zurich at the lake, see this boat getting ready to sail, and right alongside it see some swans and the little baby swans. is another view of Lake Zurich. You heard the horn of the ship that's about to set sail. And from alongside the lake, we can see some sailboats coming in. And here now we see a steamboat leaving the harbor. Wouldn't you like to be on this nice, peaceful lake right now? Throw a little walkway along the river emptying into Lake Zurich. You can see this scene. That was mother, and you see her little baby now. Many things to see along the riverside here at Zurich. And we must bid goodbye to beautiful Zurich. We're now at the airport in Zurich, just about to board the TWA plane to head back to the United States. Rod's just been lowered, as you can see out the window, causing us to slow down and descend. Hear the landing gear going down now. Making our final approach, coming in for a landing now. Now we're back on the ground at Houston Intercontinental Airport.